I want to talk to you about another Easter event that just needs to quit. And I'm going to upset my brethren here. Why? Why am I going to upset my brethren? Because I love my brethren. I love the Lord's church. I want us to be on the right track. I want us to get away from things that are basically, it's like 1 Samuel 8. We want to be like the other nations. That's all there is to it. And we're not thinking about God's plan. And what's God's plan? Jesus said, I came to seek and save the lost. And we're not doing it. Just plain and simple. In general, across America, the Church of Christ has become lazy, has become lukewarm, and they're not having debates with denominational preachers. They're not doing evangelism. Most people don't have a TV show or a radio show. They put up on Facebook, and they're only friends with members of the Church of Christ, and they're saying, come to our 3-day gospel meeting. Ain't nobody coming to your 3-day gospel meeting. Nobody knows about it. But this is one of the things that we do, y'all. We try to make up for the fact that we don't do evangelism by having over 20 lectureships in a year and say, well, we're doing something. No, you're not. You're preaching to people who are already saved. In Mark chapter 1, verse 38, I don't know when my brethren are going to get this verse. He said, I need to go into the next town to preach there also. And we stay and teach the same people year after year. And we come together and we shake hands and we say, we're glad that he's here from such and such. He does a good work over there. We're thrilled that he's here. Who? Who is here? Nobody knew. Because we don't do evangelism. Now you're saying, what's he even talking about? I'm saying we got to quit having so many lectureships and start having evangelism. Start having more than 3 days for people to come out and hear the gospel. Start taking the gospel to them. Stirring the pot. So what am I talking about exactly? I am talking tonight about an event that's called Lads to Leaders. And it's an Easter event. It happens, a big convention, on a yearly basis. This year it was April 14th to the 16th. And I'm asking the question, is Lads to Leaders really good for our kids? I don't think so. And I'm going to actually quote tonight from somebody else. I know we've done this before about fellowship issues and things like that, and people get mad at us. We lose supporters. I'm saying supporters that have been with us for a long time, and they drop us because we talk about fellowship. So I'm sure people are going to be mad that I'm talking about Lads to Leaders, but I want to show you a quote here. This is a good quote, real good. This booklet is well documented and written in love. I got the booklet right here. It is my hope that the material contained here will encourage brethren to investigate for themselves the unscriptural practices of Lads to Leaders and Leaderettes Incorporated. The Incorporated should be enough of a red flag to the faithful. It's also my prayer that the brethren will develop a program that is scriptural. Man, this is just the foreword to this skinny little booklet. He, number one, starts out and says it's unscriptural, and he hopes that we can have something given to us that is scriptural. And he says, for our young people to replace an obviously flawed activity, Lads to Leaders. And who said it? This man's name is Keith Mosier Sr., and he is one of the instructors at the Memphis School of Preaching. Now you might be saying, Caleb, I thought y'all weren't advertising for the Memphis School of Preaching. I'm not. You know why? This book was written in the early 2000s. Keith is not practicing this idea anymore. They're basically giving into the times. Too many people are being involved with too many liberal things, and they're basically saying we can't push it back anymore. Well, this is a fantastic quote. There's some good stuff in this book. Who was it written by? The book is Lads to Leaders and Leaderettes Incorporated really good for our children? It's written by Keith Mosier's son, Mark Mosier, who actually is a graduate of the Memphis School of Preaching. And Mark Mosier was fired some years ago, and he said it had to do with, in this book now, he says it has to do with standing up against Lads to Leaders. Why'd he do it? At one time, he used to support Lads to Leaders, and then he changed. I'm going to show you tonight some things, and I'm saying if I haven't been able to find other copies of this book. Do I agree with everything that's in it? No, he makes some arguments that I don't agree with, but some other stuff, it's right on. Now, I want you to look at it, friends, and I want you to consider this. If you're sending your kids to Lads to Leaders, and I know a lot of people are, they've got a lot of conventions in different states, you need to consider this stuff. Mark Mosier asked the question, is it really good for our children to respect individuals who support liberalism? Now you think about this. I heard somebody say the other day, I like Joel Osteen. And I don't mean like as a preacher, but I like him as a motivational speaker. What? No. Motivational speaker, nothing. He's deceiving people. Now think about this. Is the idea of Lads to Leaders good? In one sense. You know, I love to have Bible, talk about Bible trivia where we do a game to see how can you recall the chapters or the names of the places. But the idea about we're going to have song leading and it's going to be a competition, the preaching is going to be a competition, and the debate that they have is one of the, based on the charts that's in this book, one of the fewest attended events there. I just don't think the focus is there, but look at what he says. Should we have our children respecting individuals who support liberalism? Well, what is liberalism? He's saying the founder of Lads to Leaders' name is Jack Zorn. Should we be encouraging an event that's run by a man, Jack Zorn, founded by a man who actually supports liberalism? Well, how do we know he supports liberalism? This is what I'm saying to you, friends. If it was the case in the 2000s that Mark Mosier said we shouldn't support men that support liberalism, then we got to stop supporting Bear Valley, who still has this man here, Jay Lockhart, on their Bible program, the master's program at Bear Valley. What's wrong with Jay Lockhart? Jay Lockhart is on record talking to us saying, now I'm saying when I say on record, we can get you the audio. He does not have a problem with Stafford North. He doesn't have a problem going to OCU, the Oklahoma Christian Lectureships, in 2013 and being with Royce Money, who is the past president of ACU, who is for women teaching over the Bible class. He's for instrumental music and he's for fellowship with the Christian church. Well, Jay Lockhart doesn't have a problem with that. Look at what Mark Mosier says. Should we support people in their events that support liberalism? If that's the question, I cannot support Jay Lockhart and I can't support Phil Sanders if he's going to boast up Jay Lockhart. Jay Lockhart is a liberal who runs with liberals. He's not warning people about OCU. You know why? He's good friends with Stafford North. I've been friends with Stafford North a long time. Y'all, I've got good friends and I'm withdrawn from some of my good friends. You know why? Because they do not uphold the truth. Do they teach error? Not all of them, but a lot of them don't uphold the truth. And then what does that do? Jesus said, you're either with me or against me. You don't get to ride the fence in the Church of Christ. And that means, what is riding the fence? This picture is at Lads to Leaders. So if you go to Lads to Leaders, who are you going to run into? You're going to run into Jeff Jenkins, who goes around with people who go into, I'm saying fellowship, y'all, with Pepperdine, with Oklahoma Christian, with Harding, and here's Jay Lockhart who does the same thing. And they bring it right back to where they go. Searching, what's his TV show called, James? Search for the Lord's Way? Yeah. And then you got Jay Lockhart coming over to Bear Valley. Now that's exactly what Mark Mosier is presenting to in the year 2000, but for some reason, Mark Mosier and Keith Mosier, teacher at the Memphis School of Preaching, they're not anywhere to be heard on this Bear Valley stuff. Why were they using a man like Stafford North at Bear Valley? Why are they using Jay Lockhart? Why would Jay Lockhart not speak out against Royce Money at Abilene? Why would he not speak out against Stafford North? Why are these men using false teachers? Why does Faulkner have false teachers coming to the Faulkner lectureships like F. LaGard Smith, Jerry Rushford, Jim McGuigan? Why? He's saying in this book we shouldn't support Lads to Leaders because it teaches our kids to respect people who support liberalism. Okay? If Mark Mosier and Keith Mosier weren't enough for you, here is the past director. He's died now, but his name is Curtis Cates. And Curtis Cates wrote to the eldership where Mark Mosier was, and this is what he said. He says, "It has come to my attention that the term a bold-faced liar has come of me by Brother Jack Zorn, the founder of Lads to Leaders, called the past director of the Memphis School of Preaching a liar, bold-faced liar." Why? Because this is what Curtis Cates said about Jack Zorn. He said in a conversation with Jack Zorn, we were discussing whether a woman could lead in prayer in the presence of men, and Brother Zorn took the position that she could. Now, where was the founder of Lads to Leaders and leaderettes saying that women could pray over men? Where was Curtis Cates saying, no, they can't? Where's his son, Dan Cates, at the Memphis School of Preaching? Are they telling people not to be fooling with Lads to Leaders? Get your kids out of it. Why? Jack Zorn was a liberal who supported liberals. Now, let me ask you this question. If Jack Zorn is that way, what do you think this man is going to be like? This is their new executive director, and his name is Roy Johnson. You know really what Roy Johnson is? Roy Johnson was a bigwig in the Boy Scouts of America. That's really what this is. This is not about growing in real biblical Christianity. Give me a break. Song leading. We got to teach them to have a competition about song leading and giving speeches. How about we give them some education in evangelism? Get them out there. Y'all, you talking about, well, what can we do? They're just kids. I grew up an evangelist child, seeing evangelism done, being involved in evangelism. When I said earlier that people threatened to burn down my dad's tent, I was there at the tent in an RV, and people had to come get me and my mom out of there before those Pentecostals came down there to burn down the tent. You can grow up in the environment, and you can get your kids out of this garbage. It's not helping them. Talking about we're training people for the future. You're not doing anything but training politicians. And this is the thing too, y'all. Y'all, excuse me. Puppet shows. You got them at Lads the Leaders. I'm looking at Facebook, seeing this stuff. 4th grade puppet shows. 4th grade, 5th grade, what are you, like 10, 11 years old? They've got 12th graders, 18-year-olds performing puppet shows. When are we going to lead with a puppet show? All it is just a place to come and show out. They got, when the puppet show is happening with the 12th graders, they've got beautiful singing. Is that really about praising God, or is it just we're getting a trophy as 18-year-olds for doing a puppet show? Is really, now you look at this and you go to the Lads and Leaders page about Roy Johnson. Roy was one of the first young lads trained by Dr. Zorn in the summer of 1968. And as one of the first Lads to Leaders Scholarship recipients to the Alabama Christian College, and he traveled with Dr. Zorn to 28 states. All that time spent with this man who thinks women can pray over men, and you think that stuff didn't rub off on him? Okay. Mark Mosier asks, is it good that we have fellowship with liberal congregations at Lads to Leaders? Look at what he asks him. Why is it that we think, it's okay to go in here and have fellowship with everybody? Look at the point number 2. He says support from conservatives may be because of the fact that they see other sound congregations involved who also have not given thought that Lads to Leaders is unscriptural or scripturalness. Unscriptural. This is what I'm saying. You got sound men that go over to the Faulkner lectures to be with Jerry Rushford, and what do? Stamp their approval. Eric Owens went to Faulkner lectures. They must be doing all right. Okay. Jay Lockhart went to the Oklahoma Christian lectures. They must be coming around. They got Jerry Rushford from Pepperdine coming down to the OC lectures to be with Jay Lockhart. Man, they're coming around. That's exactly what point number 2 is. Point number 3, it may also be that some conservative congregations only seem to be sound in the faith, and they're not. He says, is it all right for sound congregations of the Lord's Church to participate in a program with unsound congregations? No, it is not. Y'all, I've only been to polishing the pulpit one time, and you know what I saw when I went down there? I'm from Martinsville, Virginia, and I saw members of the Church of Christ who were from Collinsville, Virginia, at PTP. I'm withdrawn from them in the state of Virginia, but when we come to Tennessee, everybody expects that to go away. Collinsville Church of Christ takes in everybody we withdraw from in Martinsville. They've got a man in there who's trying to steal men's wives out of the Church of Christ. But you know what? Come to polishing the pulpit, that's water on the bridge, brother. No, that is ridiculous. I went to polishing the pulpit and saw Mac Deaver's son, who's a false teacher on the Holy Spirit. Says we're baptized in the Holy Spirit. Waylon Deaver just gets to come up in the middle of polishing the pulpit. Are you crazy? Get that dude out of here. Who even let him sign up to be in here? He's a false teacher. He's going to be putting leaven in this lump. Well, it's Lads to Leaders. It's polishing the pulpit. We're here to do good, and we can't just watch over all this stuff. That's right. You cannot watch over it. And you know what's happening? People like Jack Zorn, people like the next director who come up from underneath Jack Zorn, and Jay Lockhart, who gets to come to Lads to Leaders, who gets to then start promoting all of his liberal friends. Now, this is what I'm saying to y'all. You think I'm kidding? You think they're not promoting liberals? Look at this stuff. 2016 brochure for the Lads to Leaders. Do you like missions? We'll give you a scholarship to go to the Ohio Valley University. All right? 2012 Pepperdine lectures, Harold Shank, president of Ohio Valley University at the Pepperdine lectures. And who's he with? Look over here. I go to my left. If it'll let me, you got Jerry Rushford. Y'all, Lads to Leaders is not helping us a bit, okay? I go out of that. lads to leaders, who else are they going to advertise? They're going to send you down to Harding University. Heart of our mission at Harding University. 2014 Pepperdine Lectures, president of Harding University, Bruce McClarty, right there next to Don McLaughlin, who advocates women preachers, and you people are saying you're in the Church of Christ and you don't uphold the doctrine, you're sending your kids to hell, and you're mad at us while we're telling you the truth. You would kill Jesus Christ, not just the denominational people. I cannot believe this stuff. Now, people saying, Caleb, you're just losing it. Yeah, I'm losing it. Because I'm sick and tired of no evangelism getting done, and people saying, man, we appreciate what y'all do. Then help us out. Get out there and teach somebody the truth. Quit all this stuff about, well, yeah, they'll fire me. They'll move me somewhere else. Good. Why do you want to be with those liberals anyway? It just keeps on going. Now, he says, should we support the liberals? No, we should not. He asked Jack Zorn. He says, when I asked about him on fellowship with Rubel Shelley, who goes to Pepperdine, he stated, I have nothing to do with him. And when I asked him about Jeff Walling, he said, I don't know who he is. I asked Chuck Webster why he went to Faulkner University where they had F. LaGard Smith, and he said, I don't know him. I've never met F. LaGard Smith either, but I've read his false doctrine. Can you not answer him while you're there? Look at what Mark Moser said. I also knew that Vaughn Park, where Jack Zorn was, readily supported the Nashville Jubilee. These are the arguments we are making today. If you support a liberal event, then you're with them. If you're supporting Oklahoma Christian, you are supporting the liberal false teachers. If you support Bear Valley, you're supporting Jay Lockhart, who gives a pass to Stafford North, who gives a pass to Jerry Rushford and to Royce Money. You are killing the church. You send money to Bear Valley, you're killing the church. They are not teaching these young people in there to stand for the truth. They're teaching them to be politicians. Now, I got to wrap up. I'm going fast. Last slide. This is what Jack Zorn said. Y'all, can you believe I'm saying, I'm saying I got with it. And it's because I'm saying I try to work hard, y'all. Do you know I'm saying this? My dad had colon cancer. I've got blood in my stool, y'all. I've been having diarrhea for the past month. I'm working. When my brother went to Ukraine and my dad was in Texas, I was doing 3 shows for the month every week. And I see these people going to Lads to Leaders talking about, man, the cause of Christ. You ain't doing nothing. You're down there with Jay Lockhart at an event that Jack Zorn started, who promoted liberalism. And when Mark Moser said to Jack Zorn about his fellowship, Jack Zorn responded, I am more concerned about teaching the truth than I am going around the brotherhood and talking about who is wrong. Y'all, that's not what I do. I don't just talk about who is wrong. I go door knocking regularly. I'm in people's houses. I'm on people's porches. I'm on people's porches and they're blowing cigarette smoke all over me and my clothes, and I got to get back in my car, smell like an ashtray. Why? I want them to go to heaven, so I invest the time in them. We are doing evangelism while Jay Lockhart, Denny Petrello, Ralph Gilmore, Dan Winkler, Michael Whitworth, and Wesley McAdams all say, I'm worried about teaching the truth and not saying who's a false teacher in the brotherhood. No, you're turning us into a denomination and you are going to stand before God on the judgment. What's Ralph Gilmore doing? Going to the Red River encampment with Jim McGuigan. What's Michael Whitworth doing? Going to the Red River encampment with Jim McGuigan, and so is Wes McAdams. Denny Petrello is going to the Affirming the Faith lectureship with Dan Winkler, and guess what? Harding president Bruce McClarty, who goes to Pepperdine, he's there. These guys don't care about the church. They care about speaking engagements, and they care about putting that paycheck in their pocket. Here's the slide. Back in 2000, Mark Moser stated that the financial statement for the 1997 Lads to Leaders showed a total revenue of $446,000, and half of it was used to pay individual salaries. They are growing at the rate of 20% per year and have now 3 conventions for the year 2001. The price has gone up to $40 per participant, and they've got it all across America. They easily, this year, made $800,000. And you're talking to me about we got to save souls. Good luck while you're doing that trash. following Jack Zorn, hanging out with Jay Lockhart and saying, well, they're good, godly men. They're just a Pharisee. I don't have a problem saying it. And if you support me and the work I do and you decide you don't want me to get your money, keep your money. We don't need it. Friends, if you can find the book by Mark Moser, get it, read it, and give it to somebody that you know and you love. And I'm saying, I hope tonight I did get excited, and I hope that doesn't turn you off, but I hope you examine the truth. I love the people in denominations. I love my brethren in the Church of Christ, but y'all, sometimes we got to look in the mirror that is the Word of God and say, man, I'm messing up, and I got to straighten up. If you've got a question about this, you can email me, you can call me. 276-806-3641, but I have to end the show tonight to make way for James Oldfield. Remember, friends, ask what does the Bible say. You'll get a word from the Lord. Thank you. Good night.